Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Esports Rewind. My name is Zan. This is my boy, Jake. You might notice something a little bit differently. I'm kicking things off this week to give Jake's voice a break because if you haven't noticed, we actually keep him chained to this desk. So even when he's sick, he's still got to stay here, grinding, putting out videos for you guys. But, we just want to make sure you guys are up to date on the latest and greatest in the esports and gaming scene when it comes to news and stories. So, like every week, we're here breaking all the hottest topics down for you guys. So,
thank you for doing that. If you guys can't tell, this week was, I guess this last week, because this is pre-recorded, my voice has been taking a beating, so I'm going to be taking it a bit easy. So for all of you podcast listeners who enjoy the excitement, I do apologize. We'll be taking it a bit easier and a bit shorter of a podcast this week. So thank you for doing the intro, Zan.
Yeah.
In a matter of keeping it short, shall we get into it?
Let's just do it.
All right, let's roll. All right, Zan, I got an interesting one for you as well.
Always do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You do too. As we progress through this weird realm of esports, we've noticed that, one common trend, especially over this past year, has been the youngsters have been really shining across many esports out there. I think a lot of this brought to light with the up-and-comers in Fortnite. Whether or not you consider a lot of the Fortnite pros as pros, the common argument of, at what point do you become a pro, right? Is it $500 in winnings? Is it $5,000 in winnings?
Yeah, it's a weird line.
All those Twitter bios of Fortnite pros. Either way, Fortnite's done a lot of great things for the scene. We'll continue to do so. And with them, we've seen, the 13, 14, 15-year-old pro players. We've also seen it very frequently across many esports out there. I would say Overwatch one, CSGO certainly one. These 16-year-olds who are, and I think we see a lot more of the older talent, the Nade Shots, the Hector, Rodriguez, the CEO types who are looking down and recruiting these younger guys and noticing. And then we look towards other scenes as well where pros are like, hey, these young guys are just a new level, a new generation of gamers, right? And so connecting my point here as well, we actually have 100 Thieves yet again. And I know I'm a fanboy. Lay off me, guys. I'm too tired for this. 100 Thieves announced a new Academy roster to feed in eventually to their LCS program and their LCS Academy team. So it's kind of like an academy for an academy, that being 100 Thieves next. I don't know if you read into these guys.
A little bit. I saw a little bit of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And I thought it was just, I'm trying to, I try and spark these storylines, and because I think, 5 years from now, these kind of storylines will be the big ones we look back on when 100 Thieves, when it comes down to it, you look at this, a full roster of the average age, I believe, I'm trusting my partner Nick on this one, who actually covered the story, of 16 to 17 years old. You have a full lineup of 5 players, average age 16 to 17, now to be signed to an esports organization. Besides FaZe Clan, that's some of the younger signings that we have seen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially for a game like League of Legends.
I mean, it's crazy, yeah, and especially when it comes time for these guys are high schoolers.
Yep.
These guys are sophomores, juniors in high school. They're being signed to 100 Thieves. You got to wonder what it's like. I would love to know what those guys are doing around in high school, like the day after they got signed, just walking around the hallways.
They probably all showed up in jerseys, super extra and stuff.
I wish I could get more excited about this.
Probably just on the phone, be like, hey, Nade Shot, hey, guys, what's up?
They're repping the clothes in their school.
Every day.
I'm just curious, what do you think about this, and at what point in the future does this stop progressing further down the line, right? We've seen Epic Games partner up with high schools all around the country with Play VS, and so at what point is there that breaking line of, okay, we know competitively for most games, it's at least when it comes to Fortnite, you have to be 13 and older, so that maybe that's the bottom line. We don't see many 13, 14-year-old pros. We see guys like High Sky being signed at 11 illegally. Besides that, though, I would say the youngest we have seen is 14, 15, 16 years old. So at what point does it stop, and what does the future hold for these youngsters?
I think realistically speaking, from an organizational standpoint, they're not going to go below high school. Just doesn't make any sense. There's too much risk for them there. Because, like you said, most leagues don't allow participants under 13 years of age.
Yeah.
And I don't think most orgs would want to be involved with somebody under 13 years old either.
Because a lot of room for...
Yeah, there's a lack of maturity there. That person at 10, 11 is absolutely not going to be the same person at 13, 14. So you don't know if you're going to, if they're going to be a good fit for you.
Or they're going to be controversial or problematic.
Yeah. And, you don't want to, also I think there's something to be said for inflating their egos a little bit too much, a little bit too early.
Yeah, for sure.
That could really send them down, spiraling down a bad path. We've seen that happen with a bunch of Disney stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think we want to avoid that. I think it's great that they're looking to high school like this because there's absolutely a lot of really quiet, just like killers in high schools, just people who grind and just play and love the game.
He means killers in a good way.
Yeah, killers in the
Gamers.
in the FGC sense, where they're like, they're just doing a lot of work, and I think an initiative like this is can only be good for 100 Thieves, because if it works, great. They've got in on the ground floor. They've established a relationship with somebody who's a pro way before they become a pro. And I'm sure they're not paying these people a ton.
No
because
way.
they're in high school. So they're probably like, just tossing a couple bucks.
What were we making? I made like $2,000 a summer in high school, and now I was working like full time on a farm.
No,
you know? These are probably you make some great points when it comes time for like Disney Channel stars. The issues they've had, of course, growing up out of that infamy they had during that fame they had during their childhood, and alongside that, if it doesn't work out, what's to lose here?
Yeah, right. It's just probably like maybe that whole team collectively, like running them, might be like half the cost of one pro on the actual team.
Of what the insane salaries they're paying. Now, I think very lastly as well, you compare it to the likes of like NFL recruiting or even college recruiting. Generally does not go below high school. I know we've seen a few colleges dip into middle school, and that's just kind of like, ugh.
Yeah,
how do you know
rarely.
Yeah, how do you know that player's going to develop into the athlete that you expect? But yeah, I definitely agree with you on all those points. I think it's great to see, and we're definitely gonna see how it progresses in the future. Just another thing out there that 100 Thieves is going next level beyond.
Yeah,
it's great thinking.
It's just proof that their entire mentality. Their entire approach to business and running 100 Thieves seems to be, okay, what are the expectations for the top level of running an org, and then let's take it one or two steps beyond that.
Yeah,
let's exceed everybody's expectations wherever possible.
I love it.
Just it's great.
The future is going to be crazy, especially with 100 Thieves at the forefront.
All right, Jake, so we just talked about something that is amazing to see. Let's talk about something a little bit more unfortunate, sadly.
Dude, even with me being this tired, I am not surprised. Thank you for bringing me back down to earth on this one. What is it?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about World of Warcraft again.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, which... No worries, guys. It's not becoming a World of Warcraft podcast.
We don't know enough to talk about.
Probably the last time it's coming up for a
God.
good minute. But this situation specifically is just so shocking and so just... It sends bad vibes.
Oh, wait, this actually has been talked about a lot.
Yeah, yes. quite a bit, yes. So just this week, Warcraft 3 Reforged released, which is essentially it's supposed to be a remaster of the classic Warcraft 3. And the entire community seems kind of up in arms about it because the game came out and it's just not at all what people were told it was going to be. The trailers that they showed earlier show a completely different game, essentially, than what players actually received. And, not only that, but it actually broke the old version of the game for players that used to play that. So now they can't just chill and play that offline anymore. It's just they've lost features, even if they didn't want the new version.
If there's one thing you don't want to do in this kind of, oh, my God.
Yeah. You don't want to take away the purchase that people made and have been playing for decades and enjoying and be like, no, you can't do that anymore, guys.
It's even worse that it's done with almost like a remastering of that thing you just broke.
Yeah.
So like forcing people to play a remaster, but also breaking the thing if they don't want to play breaking the thing they could be playing if they didn't want to play the remastering. If that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment.
Yeah,
it's definitely being talked about.
It's impressive how much Blizzard has just been able to shoot themselves in the foot on this one. Like they went for each one of their toes and they were like, let's just, this gun is out of bullets, to shoot ourselves in the foot with this other one,
we can name off a lot of those bullets that we had this past year.
Absolutely. But here's where it's kind of relevant to esports, you see.
Okay.
So Warcraft 3, for those of you who may not be familiar, is actually the basis that Dota was made from. Dota was originally a Warcraft 3 mod.
I don't think I knew that, actually.
Yeah. It was built off of that. The modders eventually got hired by Valve, and they made Dota 2. And the situation there was Blizzard had the opportunity to hire them, to reach out, to try and do something with them. That entire time, they just didn't.
Yeah.
And once, Valve decided to get in on the ground floor, and Blizzard tried to sue, of course, because then they saw, Dota 2 is making money. We want that money. And, lost, of course, But now it seems like they're trying to avoid that situation ever occurring again because they've included this clause in their terms of service that essentially makes it so that anybody making a mod in this version of Warcraft, it's Blizzard owns it. Anything you make, anything you do inside of Warcraft 3 Reforged, Blizzard, they basically own your soul. If I
This is debatable, Zan.
Is it though? It's just
it's okay.
It's to such an extreme though.
I know, and I don't understand the full details, nor do I have the energy to fully argue it out.
Yeah, no worries.
But to a certain extent, you understand where they're coming from. When you have that happen to you in the past, and it certainly hurts you financially to see that happen. Along with that, it is technically your property, right? So if anyone takes your property and kind of shifts it into something of their own, you're going to want a piece of that. If they want all of it, and I don't know. I come from the safer angle of maybe they would want to work with someone if they made a far out mod that had some success. They'd be like, okay, let's work with you.
Yeah,
maybe.
See, that's where I'm kind of thinking about stuff. I feel like it wouldn't. Other companies have clauses kind of similar to this, right? Where they say, hey, if you make something in our game, then it is still kind of our property, but not like they escalate it in a whole other level here with something called a moral rights clause, I believe, which essentially takes the right of attribution, which is the right to be credited for your work at all, and says that you don't even have that. So you don't even have the right to have your name on the thing that you make.
Okay.
If you make it inside of Warcraft 3, they can take whatever you create and completely ignore your existence, or they can just say, "Hey, you've got to shut it down right now." And it's just it's kind of shocking.
It's a tough debate. Does that include it? Obviously, these mods wouldn't be changing the original game files, right? It wouldn't be affecting the main game.
It would kind of depend on the mod per se, but most of them wouldn't they wouldn't affect other people's base experience.
I assume it wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. You come from the argument of maybe you look towards a lot of RuneScape viewers. RuneScape didn't have mods. They had third-party services that were trying to add into the game, and Jagex was like, no, we don't want these third-party services affecting a few people's experience and not everyone's experience. It's not even a direct relation to this story, but I'm trying to make one. And Jagex pretty much said to a lot of them, no, you can't do that. So it's got to be tough shoes to make a stance with. I don't know.
It would be my thought process is it would be so easy for Blizzard to just say, hey, if you make a thing in our engine with our game, then we get first dibs and we'll work with you, right? Or, hey, we are entitled to our cut of that, right?
Yeah.
Even if they said, I would argue that even if they said, hey, we'll take a 25% cut, I feel like that would incentivize people to make content in the game even. Now, with this, most people are saying, I will never make a mod for Blizzard in a game like this, because why would they do that if their work will just stolen?
Certainly, it probably backfired in that sense. At least Blizzard was transparent.
They weren't. They didn't tell anybody.
Oh, they didn't?
No. It's not like they came out and were like, hey, guys, so we're making this change.
Wait, how was this found out?
It was in their TOS.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. It's
that makes it really hard to
very
argue for.
heavily, the exact clause is, to the extent you are prohibited from transferring or assigning your moral rights to Blizzard by applicable laws to the utmost extent legally permitted, you waive any moral rights or similar rights you may have in all such custom games without any remuneration.
Okay, given the facts, I thought this was made a public statement via Blizzard.
Oh, no. People just found this and were like, what are you doing?
Okay, yeah, that makes it a bit more rough, to be honest.
Yeah.
How do I
will say the Metacritic score right now is below Fallout 76. It's below Anthem. It's it's still dropping. People are not happy.
I'll make a final statement in saying that if you use their game to make some sort of mod, some sort of write-off that eventually gets used by them, you certainly, I would say, are entitled to a percentage or a cut because you put the effort in, you put the work in. I think it's going to be a case-by-case basis if someone actually does do this, and we'll see if Blizzard cuts them in or Blizzard cuts them out and abuses that. So until further notice, I can't really judge them too much.
That's fair.
I think they have shot themselves in the foot in terms of this being found out via the community and not themselves going forward and saying it, and thus creator content or community-created content is going to be suffering because of it.
Yeah, I don't think the community is going to really touch this game. I think there's going to be a dead game in a couple months.
And it very well could be.
People are pissed. I don't think I've seen a community this mad about a game actually ever.
I did see it all over the place, especially Bellular, those kind of people. But we'll have to see case by case, and we'll see how Blizzard acts when it actually comes into effect.
Fingers crossed they do the right thing.
Fingers crossed. All right, Zan. It happened again, man. It happened again. It keeps on happening. It's not going to stop happening here in esports or gaming or streaming.
Without people saying no words.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I figured.
This time around, I got a couple cases for you. I'll try and keep it brief. First of all, we talked about last week an Overwatch pro, ironically named Slur. Had to clarify that was, of course, not the reasoning for the choice of his name. Got caught out for Discord messages. In fact, both our victims today got caught out for past Discord messages. I would say a platform that is pretty well known for saying things maybe you shouldn't, that are probably going to resurface for a lot of future pros or creators out there as well, is Discord. You know, you feel really comfortable in your own community Discord. I know in my past Discords, a lot of people have just said things that you just, wow. And then you never realize you can search that term and see how many times you said it. This guy named Slur supposedly now has actually lost his spot with the LA Valiant because of it. It was something he did 2+ years ago. And it's very unfortunate to see these kind of things because now with this kind of case, me and you talked about this, an apology that was actually very well spoken. Yeah. This guy even offered up his own contact information for people to reach out to him and talk about these kind of things, which I have never seen someone offer that up. And then alongside that, you see several players and coaches and staff talk about how much he has changed and reformed. And even to that point, it wasn't enough to save his job. So it was kind of a super sad story to see. Then we saw a Twitch streamer known as Jenna. And I've never seen evidence like this before, man.
It was a lot. It was shocking. Like, I don't think we've ever seen because we share messages like this through our company work chat, right? And in our chat, you drop a link and it'll show a preview of what's in the link, right?
Yeah.
And even in that preview, it was like everywhere. There was no hiding it. It was, I've never seen like such a prolific, like, wow.
It was bad. And so we have we see so many cases. We see so many varying punishments. We have a kid who's losing his job as a potential future Overwatch pro because of a few statements he made. And then we have Twitch actually doing the right thing here and removing partnership for a partner. I honestly have never, ever seen something this bad. Okay, take it back, reel it back, Jake. I've never seen someone say this many bad words this many times in a Discord server. And I think Twitch did the right thing here, but it also is very curious because we have a few people out there who try and compare this to Alinity. And I think it's very, very tough to see the shoes that Twitch are put in when you have someone using sexist, racist, anti-Semitic, and transphobic comments in a Discord server hundreds of times versus someone abusing an animal several times as well. And you have Twitch removing the partnership for one and not the other. And so it does create a little bit of a debate. Myself, personally, I think what Jenna had done was far worse.
I agree.
But it does beg the question, it always will, as to what the heck is Alinity doing not getting banned, at least for any amount of time, right?
Yeah, that is kind of ridiculous. I don't think there's much of a debate whether or not what Jenna said in Discord was, on the same level of Alinity's discretions, right? Where, like, obviously her harming an actual another living being, horrible, right? All agree she should have been punished for doing that on stream.
Yeah.
In some way. But, like, I think with the Jenna situation, it's like the sheer volume of it and the directness with which she sent those messages kind of puts, I don't think Twitch could have not removed her partnership.
But it is interesting because we don't often see Twitch do this for things outside of Twitch.
It's super rare.
These are Discord messages, right?
Yeah.
Alinity and all these others have done these things
on their platform.
Twitch, right? Simple. A CSGO pro said a homophobic slur. It might have been a lack of translation. A couple of times he was warned, kept on saying it. Was banned 2 separate times for this because he said them on Twitch. Alinity abused her cat on Twitch. Jenna did all this away from Twitch, and we have Twitch now stepping up for what people now do away from their streams. And I think that's the underlying topic here that should be talked. I really do appreciate what they did here. I think they made the right call. We don't often see them make the right call. And these kind of cases will keep on popping up, and it's going to keep on kind of bringing to light the subjective nature of all of these crazy Twitch bans.
Yeah, if at this point it's a new decade, it's 2020, I think Twitch just needs to clarify exactly what kind of rules they work within when it comes to community guidelines. I know the chances are slim, but I think realistically speaking, if they want to be taken seriously in this regard, they need to just make it clear. They can ignore all the stuff from before, They don't have to explain why they haven't banned Alinity like 5 times.
Yeah.
Right. But at least going forward, make it clear where they stand on things like this. That way, everybody can feel comfortable knowing, oh, this is exactly what's going on here. So there's no like gray areas, because we see every other platform right now. Bless you. Making moves.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, we just got Facebook just rolled out a new set of community guidelines.
That's a weird one.
Which is they are interesting, but at the very least, they're trying to clarify their thought process, and I think the community in general appreciates that.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see Mixer doing the same thing, and if Twitch is over here looking like some weird just dude who's like, do whatever as long as you're making us money. Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't paint them in the best light, unfortunately.
I think transparency is key going forward.
Yeah.
And if any platform can do that going forward, they're going to succeed at least a little bit. Mm-hmm. And you would like to see that from the titan of all streaming platforms currently, that being Twitch. So we will certainly see how other platforms react to this kind of thing. And if they're going to be transparent, I think that will bring them a lot of benefits if they can be. So we maybe look towards a guy like Fwiz and YouTube to maybe correct those things in the future.
All right, Jake, last topic, then we can get you out here, get you some tea, you know, some honey.
I know you're going to piss me off with this one. I saw what it was.
See, I don't think I am, actually.
Really?
I think I'm just going to I'm going to walk the middle of the road here a little bit.
I'll be glad to see it.
Yeah, we're talking about the Overwatch hero pool, the hero band system. Well, technically not a hero band, even though it's essentially the same thing, that the developers are going to be implementing in March. That essentially makes it so that 1 tank, 1 support, and 2 damage heroes will be removed from the competitive play pool every week.
Yep.
And
this is crazy.
It's such an interesting situation where up at face value, it doesn't seem great because Overwatch does not have a lot of heroes. It only has 31 at the moment. And just removing and they don't add them quickly either.
And especially when it comes to top tier comps.
Yeah. You only have so many options, right? And the whole thought process behind this from Kaplan has been like, this is going to be the most active way they can adjust the meta so people don't stagnate in one position for too long, you know?
Yeah.
And while I can appreciate the intent, who we'll see if it actually works out.
Mm-hmm.
My main concern here is how this is going to affect competitive play.
Me too.
Or not competitive,
the pro
play.
Yep.
Yeah, because we already see the scene kind of struggling because of all the travel pros got to put in, the current hero selections themselves.
The current meta stress already adapting.
Yeah.
The travel's obviously a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it's just extra stress on top of stress on top of stress, and we're already.
I don't think we have to explain to them the amount of pros that have retired in Overwatch compared to other esports this early on. Mm-hmm. That speaks for itself.
Never before seen.
That speaks for itself. Yeah. Siegel's made great statements about this, about why being an Overwatch pro is likely the hardest of an esport. So I think they know that too.
Yeah, and I think I want to hear what you have to what your thoughts on on this is like a viable path. I do appreciate that Kaplan said that they're willing to walk this back if it doesn't work out. But personally, I think I would have preferred if they maybe implemented it in standard competitive in the game and then left it out of the pro league until next season.
I
see if it works first.
Completely agree with that statement. I think personally, now there are many opinions out there. Of course, you guys can share them. My opinion does not speak for all. I think we've seen a lot of coaches, a lot of pro players so far, and especially a lot of streamers out there talk about this in a negative light because the adaptation for Overwatch pros has already been so strenuous.
Right.
Like we talked about, and this only adds to that. It certainly does. This only adds to the stress of pro players who are already struggling, and it's announced at a weird time where the league itself is in a very concerning point.
Yeah,
and so
it starts very soon.
Yes, it's not coming till March, but the teams weren't made aware of this until they've already selected their rosters. And if this is such a heavy impact of maybe, okay, do I want to sign a guy who mains 1, maybe 2 characters, and all of a sudden this drops, and it come March, you're going to want more of an intellectual signing who has more of a flex and a variant role between. This is a big choice to make, and especially, I will say, when it comes to a casual update, this might be great, and that's probably a large percentage of the player base out there. Yes, of course, they're casuals. The game wants to sell Overwatch and Overwatch 2. It could be a great thing. To your point, though, to announce this now, and then all of a sudden it's coming out in March during this season, and then we could even talk later on about the different regular season rules compared to playoff rules. I don't know. It seems a bit too rushed to me. So I like your idea of
agree.
maybe introducing it to casual competitive, and then next season saying, "Hey, pros, you had an entire season to maybe work things out. Don't give them a couple months.
Stabilize a little bit.
This is a gigantic change. I think a lot of people can agree with that, and I do appreciate the fact they could roll it back if it doesn't work out, but even that will affect match results.
Yeah, I don't think they should be really like testing this type of thing
I mean,
in
Zan,
the actual league.
Let's say they roll this out in March for a couple of weeks,
and then it's gone.
and some teams win and some teams lose, and all of a sudden it's not working out. And Jeff's like, "Hey, we'll take it back." What happens to those wins and losses? That affects franchises. That affects a lot of things.
That affects a lot of people's jobs and their livelihoods.
And I don't think
at
they
that
will roll
point.
it back. I think it's a facade. I don't think you have this kind of. I think it's very possible it's not rolled back.
It is a very big move to actually come out and say like, "Hey, we'll roll it back," because this.
And then you bite that bullet. You look like it's tough, man.
It really paints the devs in like a really weird light. Because while I appreciate the fact that they're willing to listen to player feedback so actively, right?
Yeah.
We've seen in the past that they're very slow to change things. Very, very slow. That's been the overall problem with Overwatch up until this point, is like how slow like balance changes roll out, how slow actual updates to the game roll out. Like this team takes their time with stuff, and if we're stuck with this kind of system for like, let's say, an entire season, and you have pros like, I don't know, like Chipsa, who he is a Doomfist essentially. Like, is he just gonna like
that whole signing, man?
Yeah.
This is just ironic.
It was already weird in the first place. Yeah. Now is he gonna be like riding the bench, and then how are teams gonna know? Oh, what if they take it away and then they bring it back? Do they sign a person like him again, or do they want to risk it if this type of thing could be around the corner at any point? It's.
I do appreciate it.
Questions.
I appreciate their willingness to change things. I don't know if it was the right time to make these changes.
Probably.
And
not.
we've seen plenty of people say it. The staff and the coaches just became so important.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I don't know, man. We're gonna have to see how it rolls out. I don't know if it's just there's so many layers.
Yeah, it isn't out yet, so we don't quite know yet how it'll actually impact things. But in my mind, when I think of Overwatch, I don't think like it would just feel off for me to all of a sudden be like, I'm hopping on, I'm in the mood, I want to play Widowmaker, right? Oh, Widowmaker's banned this week. I guess I'm just not playing Overwatch right now. Just I'm chilling. Yeah. Because there's too many other games out there is the thing. Like, and Overwatch is unique, but at the same time, there's so many other like great, fantastic. Like, why would people consistently come back and check and be like, oh, is this a week I can play, or is it not a week I can play? Especially when you get to like the supports and the tanks, where there's only so many choices.
Yeah, and then you could argue that plenty of casuals have, a couple characters they probably love.
Yeah, but then what if somebody else in your lobby takes that one other character you flex onto? Then you're just like, it's a dice throw, It
is. It's a big move.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if the timing is perfect or just utterly terrible. I really don't. That's all I have to say on this topic for now until we wait to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on it.
For sure. Going to gather more responses from the actual pros, actual players, and we'll check back in on this one. Definitely a risky one.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Esports Rewind. It's a little shorter this week. We're trying to cut it brief. Get out of here, get some medicine, Jake. But as always, we just want to say thank you. And if you'd like to listen to the audio version of the podcast on the go on your podcast streaming app of choice, you can always find us on the Prediction Esports Talk Show Network. That's PREEDICTION. We appreciate all you audio listeners out there as well. If you ever want to check out the video podcast as well as some of our other daily esports news content, you can always find us on YouTube at Esports Talk. Thank you for everyone who reaches out through Twitter, through Instagram, in the comments. We love hearing from y'all. You can find us on Twitter at talk_esports. On Instagram, just look up Esports Talk. First result guaranteed.
Nice throw in there.
Yeah. And Jake, you have any last words you want to leave the people with?
I just want to say thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching and dealing with my sickness all week. I hope next week I am better. And thank you, Zan, for being my podcast partner.
Thanks for having me, Jake. It's always a blast.
We hope you guys all enjoy. As per usual, same time, same day, every single week here from the Esports Rewind podcast. I drank all my fluids, but cheers. We'll see you guys back here next time.